and thank you for joining today's webinar on supporting your veterinary CSRs. In collaboration with our partner, Penn Vet Supply, and with Veterinary Receptionist Week just around the corner, we are super excited to have Debbie Boone here with us today. We also have a special guest, Stephen Shirley, who is the Director of Operations over at Family Pet Health, and he'll chime in on how he supports his own CSRs. Before we get started, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Ashley Cole. I'm a former veterinary technician with over 5 years of experience within the industry. And now at PetDesk, I work with veterinary clinics to help reduce workload and communicate with clients in a more efficient way. So I'm super excited about this webinar. And now I'll pass it over to Danielle from Penn Vet.
Hi, I'm Danielle from Penn Veterinary Supply, and I am the brand communications manager here. Many of you may know me from the field because I have been with Penn Vet as a territory sales rep for the last 7 years. And prior to coming to Penn Vet, I was in private practice for 11 years, 7 of which I was a practice manager for 2 different multi-site hospitals. I'll be here to take questions or comments, so feel free to use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. This webinar is going to run about an hour of time for Q&A. This program has been approved for 1 hour of continuing education credit in jurisdiction that recognizes race approval. I'd like to introduce our speaker, Debbie Boone. Debbie has worked in the veterinary profession for more than 35 years. After earning her bachelor's degree in animal science at North Carolina State University, she began as a client care representative and quickly moved into hospital administration. Debbie has experience in the management of small animal, mixed animal, specialty, and emergency practices. She is considered an expert in team communications and creating a positive practice culture. In her consulting work, she helps practices develop extraordinary team communication and business skills, which enhance patient care, improves profitability, and increases practice value. Her mission is to improve the lives of animals by using her expertise to enhance workplace culture and well-being of veterinary professionals. Welcome, Debbie.
Thank you, Danielle, and thank you guys for having me today. I do want to thank our sponsors, PetDesk and Penn Vet, for bringing me on and allowing me to share some information that I believe is invaluable in today's very busy veterinary market. Now, I've been in the veterinary profession for over 35 years, and during that time, I have seen many incredible changes. However, the one constant I see in all successful veterinary hospitals is the ability to serve clients well. Not necessarily practice the best gold standard of medicine, because clients don't really judge us on our medicine. 90% of them are not medically trained. Some of them won't even know if their dog is male or female. Veterinary medicine is primarily a human service business, and veterinary medicine is the product that we sell. What clients do judge us on is the experience that they have with our hospital. What we must realize is the steps on the ladder of a successful veterinary practice start with hospitality. The second rung of the ladder is client education, and the third is good, effective medicine. If we fail at hospitality and education, our clients will not allow us to perform medicine because they won't trust us enough to say yes to what we offer. The team must be customer-centric, and we must pull out all our tools to do this. This is why it is vital to support our CSRs and get them the training and communication skills and the tools that they need to be successful. To start, it's always helpful to know the audience. So if you will please just take a second or two to answer this first quick poll, I'd like to see who you guys are.
All right, Judy, this is joke time, right?
Yeah, do you have a joke?
Got a Shirley on the thing. Debbie, you may hear. My children like to ask, where does a general keep his armies?
I don't know, Stephen.
Up his sleeveys.
This is like a dad joke day, right?
I have 4 kids.
4 kids. Definitely need some dad jokes. All right, so I'm glad to have some CSRs here. I anticipated a lot of practice managers and owners popping in there, and some vet tech assistants. Maybe you're what I call the techceptionist, where you do a little bit of everything in your practice, and that's the techceptionist job. So let's talk a little bit about that front desk position, because truthfully, I've always believed the front desk is the most critical position in the practice, because without great customer service skills and CSRs who can guide the clients in a way that shows that they care and they're not just pushing services, clients won't enter our doors. Being a great CSR is like this dog on this ladder. It's a balancing act. The doctors, the techs, the clients, the management, they all have expectations to be met. And sometimes they're at odds with each other. The management wants to book the appointment schedules. The doctors need a little break. And so it's up to those talented CSRs to keep the traffic flowing and all the humans happy as they schedule, finesse, and finagle to try to make it all work, all while making it appear easy. Now, unfortunately, like this dog on the ladder, it doesn't take much to tip it all over. So the goal today is to give the CSR some extra time for balancing and to add some stability to that shaky ladder through some training and some technology. I want to start with the big picture view. Since 2008 and the Great Recession, consumer attitudes have changed. During good times in a booming economy, people are less concerned with the cost of care. And I think we were all pretty shocked during the pandemic as clients continued to spend, and sometimes more than they ever had, on their pets. But the pendulum is swinging again towards inflation, and consumers are going to start paying closer attention. Our retiring baby boomer client is being replaced with millennials who are now in their 40s, by the way, Gen Zs who crowdsource everything about the information and things that they buy. Chewy is driving us crazy with requests for prescriptions, but price for many consumers is not the most important factor in their decision-making. As human beings, we make buying decisions based on our judgment that the gain we enjoy is greater than the pain of releasing these precious funds. And then we like to think we're logical about our selections, but purchasing anything for most people is truly based on emotion, not cold, hard facts. If you doubt this, just consider for a moment tattoos. We willingly pay people hundreds of dollars to stab us with needles. That's an emotional buy. There's no logic there. The same goes for designer handbags and sports cars that you can barely get in and out of, and houses, whether they're mansions or tiny houses. We buy them based on how they make us feel. So what does this have to do with the front desk and client service? Well, everything. Because when we're making tough choices about spending money on pet care, are your clients going to tolerate less than a stellar experience? No, they're going to demand better than okay, or they will leave. Data from Qualtrics shows tech-savvy millennials and Gen Z customers are even more likely to not return to a business who does not serve them in the way they want to be served. This includes being available through multiple platforms such as text messaging, online appointment scheduling, remote pay, having an app for refill requests, and even the availability of telehealth advice when your practice is closed. Information shared with me from Vetstoria, which is a UK-based online appointment scheduler, says 75% of appointments for new clients are requested after hospitals are closed for the day. So people are doing their research, and that's when they're making their buying decisions. And that's why we must be available to them at that point in time. A new study from Care Credit just revealed that dog owners can expect to spend between $1,300 and $2,800, and cat owners approximately $960 to $2,500 in the animal's first year alone. Over a 15-year lifespan, they tracked this and discovered that a pet owner will spend between $15,000 and up to, hold your breath, $55,000 on their pet. Fritz Woods, a CPA focused for years in the pet industry, figured The average person will spend around $400 a year on their pet's basic care. And he just pulled this data from the AHA AVMA guidelines. If a hospital's customer care reps can convert just 10 of those phone shopper calls to clients, and they stay with the practice over 10 years, each one will spend over $4,000 with us, and probably more as the pet ages and our fees increase. So just one phone shopper conversion call could be worth $15,000 in revenue over a 10 years period of time. Putting that into perspective, how important is that phone shopper call now? So here's the challenge. You work in a practice that has 4 or 5 incoming phone lines and they're all slammed busy. So that potential new client is calling your practice and gets a busy signal and hangs up and calls the next practice in their Google search. The potential loss from this new client is thousands of dollars. But by utilizing tech tools to free up our CSRs from unnecessary phone calls, we can actually have the time to answer the phones and connect with our clients and convert those calls. Now, here's where it really becomes significant. If a team can convert just 10 calls a month, every month for 1 year, those new clients over a period of time will contribute over $500,000 to your practice revenue. This will pay your salary. It'll get you a raise. It'll keep the hospital in business, all provided that you do what it takes to retain them. You know, I'm often asked by practice owners on consultations, what can I do to get more clients? Now, that hasn't been a common question in the last 2 years because we have too many. But I do always respond, what are you doing to keep the ones that you have? Because that is the key to the success of a practice, is retaining clients. And remember, we also want them to return a couple of times a year for 10 years. So forward booking appointments and capturing future visits before those clients leave is also a big game changer. Now, when I started in 1985 in practice, almost every other phone call went something like this. Yeah, my cat's not acting quite right. Do you think I should bring it in? And of course, they were calling because they wanted you to talk them out of coming. But my answer was always, if you're concerned enough to call, you're concerned enough to come. But now our clients are going to the internet to do their research. Dr. Google is often the bane of our existence. Chances are, as the Gen X and millennials and Gen Zs become the majority of our clients, they're going to expect more online information than ever. So if your practice is not the source of information, your clients are going to go elsewhere. And sometimes elsewhere is some pretty sketchy stuff. Technology is a fact of life. And I still go into hospitals that have paper charts and a Facebook page that hasn't been updated since its creation in 2012. The Pew report states that 90% of people in North America use the internet daily. I listened to a message on the radio a few weeks ago that said, high school sophomores have never used a camera that was not on their phone. They've never not had Wi-Fi, and they've never not had access to social media. Technology is interwoven in our lives. The current statistics are astounding. Even though the internet was invented more than 50 years ago, 90% of its information has been added in the last 2 years. To serve clients, you must be where they want you to be, and that is on their phone. Clients expect us to be able to talk to them, to email them links, to text them, to video chat, to allow them to pay, all from their mobile devices. And all these services are available through PetDesk. This gives your clients the experience that they desire. During curbside care, clinic protocols changed dramatically, and clients, if you have noticed, became very unhappy because they couldn't enter the building with their pet. Now, in order to educate clients, hospitals were able to either text or email a link to documents, sharing some new protocols, giving clients a heads up about what to expect in their new parking lot visit. But by pushing communication outward, we are better able to prepare our clients for changes and to allow them to anticipate better the flow of their next visit. Speaking of preparation, one of the most important things that we can do to help both our clients and our CSRs is to push information out from the practice prior to a client's visit. During the pandemic, our protocols changed dramatically, so did our availability of appointment times. But since our clients don't live in the world of veterinary medicine, it is highly likely that they are completely unaware of these new circumstances. About 6 months into the pandemic, I realized that clients were getting upset because practices weren't giving them a heads up and allowing them to prepare for, the new protocols of a visit. So I wrote a letter for them to use, explaining to clients the reasons behind the difficulty of getting appointments, and it explained the new protocols, why they were put into place, how they worked. And then in conjunction with this, I created a checklist for clients so they came prepared for curbside care. How many of you had clients who showed up for their visit without their cell phone? Yeah. These documents were posted on my website and they were given away for free. And feedback from practices who utilized them was very positive. Clients were no longer complaining as much. They were calling for appointments much earlier, and some of them even felt so sorry for the teams that they brought gifts and food or sent cards of support. One of my clients said it was sort of like Christmas all over again. It's all because the clients were prepared ahead of time. And the front desk wasn't getting bashed when they had to inform people that their first available appointment was 4 weeks out. The idea is to always look at things through the eyes of the client rather than the eyes of the practice, and to share valuable information that your client needs to know to start a great experience. Fear-free certified practices even share information on how to prep the pet for transport to the client, because less stressed animal makes life better for everyone. This is why it is vital that we get email addresses and correct phone numbers when we're working with our clients, because without these pieces of information, all these really cool tech tools we have are less effective. So Stephen, I wanted to ask you, how did your team prep your clients for all these protocol changes?
Well, that was fun. I was actually looking back. Remember when the world shut down that second week of March, we put together a YouTube video. We made a video, posted it on YouTube, and then sent that to, we sent a mass email to everybody, check out this video. And then we sent that as a link to every upcoming appointment. The client would receive an email that had that link to that video. Please watch this video to prepare you for your visit. We also included it on Facebook, on Instagram. We pushed that everywhere in every way imaginable that we could do it. That was our biggest way.
Perfect. I mean, it's all about prepping clients for what they are to anticipate. And like I said, they weren't living in our world, which at that point in time was kind of like hell on earth. And we needed to let them know. So I love the fact that you did that. Now, a lot of books have been written on great customer care, but one of my favorites is an oldie but a goodie is Raving Fans by Ken Blanchard. Blanton Godfrey wrote Delivering Knock Your Socks Off Service. And he said, it's not enough to merely satisfy the customer. Customers must be delighted. And that's kind of surprised by having their needs not just met, but exceeded. We all live in a world of mediocre service. So when somebody truly serves us, we are surprised and delighted. And then we share that delight with our friends and our family. That word of mouth has moved from over the backyard fence to moving online. Just to think of ways that we could delight our clients. Well, we can certainly make communicating with us simple. We can share education on good pet parenting on a consistent basis. We can celebrate new pets like we would celebrate the birth of a child. We can support euthanasia, but not just when they're in our building, but also afterwards by sending a sympathy card. And I know many people make paw prints or imprints of nose prints. I love the nose prints, actually, my favorites. Donate to charities. But I think it's even more important that we send people information on grief, because often they are disparaged by the people around them who say, oh, it's only a cat, what's wrong with you? But if we can support them in that grief and their children in that grief, it's important. We can share pet food and toy recalls. We can give people heads up 2 months before a holiday that says, hey, don't forget, make your boarding reservation. Even simple things like being on time for our appointments can delight a client. Because let's face it, it's pretty unexpected in any kind of medical facility. We're used to going and waiting for an hour for our own doctors. We can give people leashes, branded, of course, when they need one. We can greet them by name. Remember something unique about them or their family. Ask about it when they call or come. We could even learn about personality profiling, which is something I teach, and custom tailor our communication to them in a way that they prefer to hear it rather than the way we prefer to give it. Great service is about active listening and paying attention to people. Now, if I ask the practice owners in this group and the managers there, and I would say, do you consider yourself to be customer centric? And they would go, oh, of course, we focus on great customer service. You know, we've got that line in our mission statement about it. But nobody in your practice knows your mission statement. And then we pull out a rule that says, oh, I can't do that. Rather than, well, let me try to help you. Have a problem? Well, it's automatically assumed that the client is difficult or cheap, the enemy, rather than the source of all of our income. Now, almost everyone despises calling a business and getting trapped in a phone tree system. 9 options, none helpful. Why then do businesses continue to build barriers between the company and the customer? Instead, we could embrace text messaging and create an easy connection for care between us and the client. With voice over IP phones, we have unlimited phone lines and an easy way for every person on our team to pick up the telephone and answer it. Busy signals and long hold times, that's a negative experience. In the Secrets of Service book by Susan Clark, it states that 68% of customers quit doing business with you because they encounter an attitude of indifference. Younger generations demand greater accessibility and more rapid response service than prior generations. You know, that call back at the end of the day, it's not going to cut it with this generation. My next door neighbor last week actually had a heart bypass. And at every step, the nurse in the OR would call his wife to say, we're at this point in the procedure and everything's going well. She called 5 times during that 4-hour surgery. Now, my neighbor Vicky found this extremely comforting. Her husband said, I think that's ridiculous, but he's 65. This is the new expectation, folks. So we can manage this with text messages instead of calls. And remember too that clients hate to repeat themselves. So by using text messaging, we can eliminate some of the repetition. For example, a client texts the practice a question about their pet, sharing some concerns and symptoms. The text is answered by one of our team, encourage the client to make an appointment. The message copied and pasted directly into the medical history. When the client comes, the details are available. No repetition. We already know what she told us the symptoms are. We might clarify, we may ask some more questions, but we confirm what we already know. Then when the pet goes home, if the client happens to call back, all the history is there. We can respond. We know what the conversation is. We pick it up seamlessly. And text is more efficient than a call, so we're able to get clients a more rapid reply. And our CSRs are free to spend more of their available time with that very concerned client who calls or is actually in the practice for an appointment. You know, as a former manager, it was a constant struggle with phone tag for my doctors trying to contact clients. Some clients would end up calling 3 and 4 times before finally making a connection. Text messaging eliminates most of our phone tag problems and gets our clients the answers they need, or the doctors the approval they need to continue care. And the great thing is, it's in writing. Now, Unless your business is unique or it has a product that no other company sells, you have competition. And that is certainly true for veterinary care. In my first practice, there were 5 hospitals within a 1-mile radius. So how do we make our business a place where our customers not only want to come themselves, but they become such raving fans that they send other people to us? The definition of being customer-centric is an approach to doing business in which a company focuses on creating a positive consumer experience at the point of sale and post-sale. A customer-centric approach can add value to a company by differentiating themselves from competitors who do not offer the same experience. Now, notice in the definition, we focused on post-sale because this is looking long-term. A lot of times we are penny wise and pound foolish, and we say, oh, we won't spend the money because it costs too much and we can't have it, but not looking long-term. That says this is a wise investment that serves our clients better. So I'm going to ask Judy to put up our next poll, and let's talk about what has upset your clients the most in the last couple of years. Was it fees, wearing a mask, curbside care, no appointments available, or long wait times?
All right, so this is time for joke time as people fill out. This was from my oldest son when he was about 3 years old, came to me and asked, hey, Dad, what do you call the private part of a duck? It's like, what? The private parts. I said, I don't know, son. He said, the booty quack.
I hope all of you with 3-year-olds are writing these jokes down. All right, let's see. No appointment. Yeah. Look how low fees is, only 16%. So the no appointment available is the thing that upsets people the most. And in looking at all these are all things that we could have pushed information out about and maybe solved some problems. Our disconnect with the customer causes what I have for years referred to as negative situations. But a customer's dissatisfaction is in direct proportion to the gap between what they believed they were to receive and what they perceive that they are receiving. Now, in your poll answers, most dissatisfaction could have been prevented with better communication if we had spent time pushing information out. And I'm sure that a lot of those no appointment available may have been clients who you had no way of contacting. But even on social media or as Stephen was talking about, they put stuff on their Facebook pages and in social media so that people had opportunity. And you can tag that to the top of your feed too, so that people would always go there and see that. So maybe you had opportunity to reach out to people who were brand new clients. But, a lot of times it's just systems that have failed. And our team members need greater communication skills, because I tell you, I listen to a lot of phone calls and I think, there's some cringeworthy conversations that are happening there. Or maybe they need more product or services knowledge, because sometimes this gap comes from our assumptions. People who work in a veterinary hospital assume that pet owners have a basic level of knowledge and understanding about normal pet care, veterinary procedures for their clients. And therefore, we don't take time to educate those clients about all the circumstances that are attached to care and their associated cost. And when clients are surprised, that's when they become reactive. I've certainly had clients tell me, oh, Debbie, don't worry, but cost doesn't matter, whatever it takes. That, to me, that is a red flag. It says you have no intention of paying me. But, I always still insisted on sharing cost information with them, because I know that clients have no true concept or perception about the cost of care. To give you a great example, in a recent survey, Dr. Karen Felstead asked veterinary clients what they considered to be a reasonable fee for a dental cleaning for their pet. The clients quoted somewhere around $55. Now, in reality, we know a normal cost for a level 2 dentistry could run $500, sort of depends on where you are in the world. So if we're not spending a small amount of time up front filling in that service gap with those clients, we're going to be spending a great deal of time on the back end trying to calm an angry client or resolve a negative online review. Pet insurance companies are sharing some fantastic data about the cost of care for animals. We should be educating and informing clients about cost and be transparent. I've always trained teams to start educating clients about the cost of a senior pet and its care needs when the animal's a young adult, and to keep repeating that message every year, because people must have messages repeated many, many times for the light bulb to go off and it to sink in. Consider car commercials. If repetition was not effective, these companies would not spend hundreds of millions of dollars to advertise their products. And sometimes we see the same commercial back to back. In order to be truly customer centric, we have to learn to actively listen to what clients want, not just what we think they want. Many, many years ago, AHA did a survey and they asked veterinary teams, what's the number one thing you think your clients want in a veterinary visit? And the team's answer was efficiency. And then they surveyed the clients and they asked the question, what's the number one thing you want in a veterinary visit? And the answer, communication. Boy, are we disconnected. Efficiency was third on the list. So let's do some pre-online reviews and send out post-visit surveys. And if we have an issue, we can fix it and fix it immediately. Don't avoid waiting to deal with a customer who is unhappy, even if it is unreasonable and even if it is crazy. And believe me, I've been there. But problems solved quickly will cement your customer's loyalty. You can use your client communication tools to send out these post-visit links, and then you get some feedback. And if they loved you, and then go ask them to post a review on your Google page or other social media pages. Focus groups, even small companies can take advantage of focus groups. What tech does your clientele want you to utilize? What are their frustrations with your communication or lack of communication? The phone. Gosh, let's just call them and ask about their experience and if there's anything that we can do to improve. Considering using a phone service that records all your incoming and outgoing calls, because then we can actually listen to what our team is saying to our clients and retrain them if needed. But we also have proof that clients have either given us verbal permission for services that they didn't tell us, or that they didn't tell us stuff that they claim they tell us. Call recording is a great way to have your teams back with challenging clients. I see Stephen going, yes, yes, yes. Oh, how about this one? A complaint log. You say, well, this is a great way to look for trends because common threads of the same complaint show problems in your processes. If something is a one-off thing, okay. But if this happened 4 times, it's a system problem. And we should be thinking in systems because bad systems make even great people fail. Mystery shoppers. This allows you to walk in the shoes of your customer. Always remember, humans are looking for what's in it for me when they're purchasing. So our job is to explain that to our customers. And it's just human nature. I used to have clients call wanting refills of a 2-year-old ear medication for a brand new infection. And I'm sure you've all been there. And I would explain to those people that there are about 10 different things that could be the cause of the ear problem in their dog. And I would really hate for them to waste their money, their time, and to have their dog suffer unnecessarily because we sent the wrong medications home. It worked 90% of the time. It was not about our rule, but about them and not wasting their money or their time or having their pets suffer. So Stephen, we've been talking about feedback. How do you get client feedback in your practice?
Well, I just saw that was actually a question asked in the Q&A section as well. We, at our practice at Family Pet Health, send out the automatic PetDesk review requests to the clients. 9 times out of 10, the people who respond are just going to give us the 10 star. But there are times when people will take a few minutes and write, and those comments are invaluable. Even if you don't think they're reasonable from your perspective, they give insight onto what the client expects and what the client is feeling through their exam and through the experience. We had someone who said, "I don't like the automation." We're like, "What? All these forms you sent me." We're like, "But that's efficiency. That helps us." But she's like, "I just want to be talked to. I just want you to get the history from me because I want to talk to my vet." It's a great comment. And we were so proud of our online forms and this system of getting all of this information ahead of schedule and being so efficient, but she just wanted the relationship. So that is the way we try to push it, is through those PetDesk reviews, and just really taking to heart when those people take a client takes time to write a review that's more than "you guys are awesome," and they share something. Really take it to heart.
It's true. It's true. Sometimes it hurts to hear it. Even as a speaker, I've had some remarks that I'm like, whoa, but then I thought about it. I thought, no, you know what? I need to refine this message that I'm giving, because I'm perhaps offending or stepping on somebody's toes. And not to say that I'm not willing to do that if I think that there is something that needs to be stepped on, but it was inadvertent, and it did help me become a better speaker by listening to the audience feedback. And so we need to take it to heart and say, how can we make it better? And I think this is a illumination that not everybody wants the same thing. And that's why it's about listening and custom tailoring the experience rather than just cookie cuttering it. Okay.
And on that one, we took her specific comments and updated her client file so that in the future, we see that alert and we just know, because she is unusual from most of our clients. Most of our clients value efficiency, value the way that we can get this information beforehand, and they don't have to tell the technician and the doctor and every single person the exact same thing.
Right. No repetition.
But if you've got a client who wants relationship, then flag that file and just know that you're going to deal with this client a touch differently. It's not slower, it's not less efficient, but it's just a different connection. And she values that.
Exactly. Great point. So let's talk about respect, because this is, Stevens, you're talking, this is respecting her wants. But a simple thing that we can do is respect people's time, because a practice that makes no commitment to being on time is completely self-centric and not customer-centric. The appointment book is the way you control the runaway horse. Life is busy. People have things to do, and waiting has always been and still is the number one complaint of all veterinary clients. And because what we do is on occasion unpredictable, that means we should make allowances our appointment schedule for catch-up times. We should also pepper in wellness visits in between sick visits instead of sick, because otherwise we know we're going to get behind on some of those sick appointments. We also need to realize that we train our clients to be good or bad. So clients that are late should not be allowed to penalize those that are on time. Late clients should be politely informed that the hospital had to take the next appointment and would be happy to reschedule, admit the patient, or work them in. Using text messages to inform clients that you're running late is a courtesy that we can offer. We used to call clients and say, hey, run an errand before you come. We're 10 minutes behind. And people appreciate that. It's just a heads up, and it goes a long way to customer satisfaction. It says, I value your time. I respect it. We could also text a client who is late to inform them that we will need to reschedule so that they don't show up 20 minutes into their appointment slot and expect to still be seen. Now, I know you probably are thinking, well, that's not very good service, Debbie, but it really is. because it is caring for the clients who respect your schedule enough to be on time. And it is training those who are chronically late that either do better or they pay a price. Another respect for time issue is returning calls in a timely manner. So when clients call, they should be given a specific block of time when doctors will call. Again, I believe in scheduling and controlling your world, and this is appointment scheduling. This way, they're not trapped by the phone. They can go take a shower, they can go mow the grass without worrying that they're going to miss the call. Because realize that when clients call us, when they make that effort, they are concerned about something. Perhaps their pet is in the hospital. They're calling for a medical update. We could text them a message that says, hey, Dr. Jones will be calling you in 10 minutes. Will you be available? And then we can stop some phone tag. Another respect for clients has to do with using terms and language that they can easily understand. You know, working the front desk for, 19 years and training hundreds of reception students allow me to hear a lot of the confusion of clients firsthand. They won't tell the doctor that they don't understand. So they come out to the front staff for an interpretation, or even worse, they leave and they don't tell anybody about it and they're confused. And then something happens and they get upset because they didn't really understand what you were talking about or how those instructions work, or, you know, how to peel that cat. If you think about, if you've ever had a conversation with an IT professional, they speak a language all their own, but folks, so do we. So I want you to be really aware and change your verbiage to make the client comfortable. Have some pre-prepared documents written in lay terms that you can text or email to clients. I always will remember going into a hospital and having the technician come into an exam room, look at a client and go, oh, your pet's here for vaccine checks. And the man looked bewildered and his girlfriend said, yes, that's right. And he said, oh, she knows, I don't know. I guess I'm just stupid. Now that is not a customer-centric event when you make your clients feel less than. Good client service also includes giving clients written information. Now, as a professional speaker, I know that you will only remember 20% of what I'm telling you. 10% of that probably be wrong. And the same thing happens in our exam rooms because we're all professional speakers all day long. We know this because clients go home and then they try to explain to all the other people in their household what we've told them. It makes no sense. So what do we get? Another phone call to re-explain to the second, third, and fourth party in the house. If we would just learn to share pertinent information, we could solve this problem. Maybe we could do a chat with everybody in the room. Maybe we could send out information and videos. I'm a big fan of sending videos to people because I think a picture is worth 1,000 words. Okay. So, Stephen, what is your typical training protocol for your CSRs at Family Pet?
Ooh, typical. Haha, funny word. So on day one, they are given the employee handbook. They are given the CSR phase training. The phase training basically asks them, can you do this? Can you answer the phone? Yes, no, or with help. Can you, do you know how to clock in and out? Yes, no, or with help. And every question has that laid out. It's 8 pages long. And that's a 2-week phase training. And on day one, there's a block that they really should know how to do on day one. But there are some questions, the last question on that phase training, how do you know what question has to be asked to the doctor immediately while the client is on the phone? And how do you know what calls can be take a message? That is something that takes experience. And so that's something that we do. But on their first day, we go through some of the stuff we walk through. Here's the emergency stuff. Here's the fire extinguishers. Here's the emergency exits. This is what you do. Then your next process, I'm sorry, my brother is on the other side of the door.
Tell Michael to behave.
I should have turned the camera around so everybody could have watched him.
So he could be on, yeah.
But the thing that we do is we give them a task, one task that they do that day for an extended period of time. So maybe it's call through all the clients who have requested medications but haven't come and picked them up. That's a real easy phone call, but it lets the brand new CSR at their own pace learn your client management software system. So they can learn, okay, here's how I go find the client. Here's how I can find their phone number. This is the medication that they requested that's in this bag. It's in the bag. They could open it up and look at it. But then they can make the phone call, and the phone call is the easy part. Hey, just call them to remind you that your medication's here. You can come pick that up anytime between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. That's easy. They've got their little script, but it's all the other things that they can practice over and over and over and over again. And then you're done.
Yeah,
Then maybe
I love that. Just starting with a simple task, getting them comfortable with that. That is much more elaborate than I was trained. Follow her. That was my training. So we absolutely could do better than that. So let's talk some nuts and bolts of service offerings and how our tech tools can elevate our interactions with people. So in the typical hospital, and much like Stephen was talking about, we have 7 points of personal interaction with clients, and we need to be offering them a wow experience at each one. Now, the first one is how we handle the phone. And this is, in today's market, clients who have text messaging available, they'll utilize that first. And they're going to request, wellness care, grooming, preventive care refills, simple things. They're pretty confident in what they need. And then they can quick message, over text. And then we have even some canned replies that say, we've received your refill request. It'll be ready in 24 hours. And so that's automated. But clients with more urgent medical needs, they want to call because they're asking for advice. And utilizing our text messaging allows our CSRs to actually have more time to deal with these folks and not make them feel rushed, like we've got to get them off the phone. It improves the client experience. It reduces the stress on the team. And the phone is always our primary, personal interaction with the client. And our first impression is a make it or break it point there. When we're answering the phones and when we have people standing in front of us, we should be looking for ways to start building relationships with potential clients. We should be encouraging to tell us the stories and picking up details of the client's life. I mean, are they reading a book? Do they have a cute jacket on? Make some conversation about that. Our discussions with clients should seek to build rapport and to show that we're about the care, not just about the money. We want to be interactional, not just transactional. And it takes a little time, but not much. But with text messaging, we're capturing back some of our time. Some shared data from Weave says the average office sends and receives about 33 texts a day. Considering the average text takes 13 seconds and the average phone call takes 90, we could get 176 hours of time back every year. Man, what could your office do with 176 hours of extra time? Okay. People acquire the first impression of your hospital in the first 10 seconds. A negative first impression can take as long as 3 years to overcome if you get the chance. So when you're answering that phone, answer it with a smile. I know it can't be seen, but it absolutely can be heard. Remember to practice active listening. I personally kept a notepad by the phone, and as soon as the client gave her name or the pet's name, I just jotted it down. And of course, it was in front of me. I know that, but sometimes you walk away. Sometimes you pick up a phone somewhere else in the hospital. I always had it right there. But it was always my mental nudge to say, remember to use it. Remember to personalize the call. We also want to speak slowly. And here's a little tip I've given for years. Take a breath before you answer the phone and think slow. So no matter how busy, how rushed the phone call, if you say, if you're rushing through that phone call, what you're saying to that client is, you're not important. You're a bother to me. I have better things to do. I have all these people breathing down my neck. And it's hard to do that when people are staring at you. But remember, take that breath, speak slowly, and be always calm. And it's kind of the zen of the front desk. Be knowledgeable. Many practices don't train their CSRs on medical stuff, but arm them with information, because people who know what they're talking about come across over that telephone as smart and relaxed and confident. And that is just what you want in your veterinary team. People don't like to go through bunches of layers to get an answer. Get your team some answers. Okay. Now, typically during practice, we give some status updates to our clients about their hospitalized patients. We should be doing this. They're really important in the cycle of service, but they're also time consuming. So we could be texting these updates with photographs and medication instruction videos and lab results and show and tell messages to clients. And with PetDesk, you can even use live chat and you can do real show and tell. I think there's nothing more relieving to a client than to receive a text of their pet post-surgery. It's alive and it's awake. And I also love those pre and post dental pictures that we can text to clients because they're going to show them to other people. Now, think of how often clients have the groomer, the boarding kennel, the training center call us. If they have the app, they have their pet's history, and that's another time suck that we can take off of the front desk. Neuroscience data informs us that when we attach pictures to a message, people's comprehension jumps 75% more than just a spoken word. So when we're utilizing text messages, we can put visuals with that, and that spoken instruction that we gave, it will eliminate confusion and those repeated phone calls. So think about having things in a Dropbox or video messages available, and you can just send these things out automatically. One of the most common reasons that doctors spend several hours after their workday ends is doing these callbacks, and we need to change that. They need to go home. We all do. Another issue that slows down customer care at the front desk is the check-in process, and this has become even more difficult thanks to curbside. But by simply texting or emailing those links out, you've got your new client form, your new patient history, your surgical release form. And people are sometimes surprised that I suggest the surgical release, but nobody ever reads it. And then they want to argue about what it said when they come back, and there's a problem. So you can eliminate a lot of that check-in process time. Have them available on your website, and then simply send that out there, unless you're Michael and Stephen Shirley's practice client who doesn't want the automation. But there's all those people usually like it. There's even a practice that I know that does this, and then they give the client an instant $5 credit for returning their filled out form complete and legible to the office. Okay. Now, we also know that without us nudging clients to return, they probably wouldn't, at least not on time. So we want to set up reminder messages and follow-up care. Now, I'm a believer in reminding for everything. So especially now that it doesn't have to have a stamp on it, I just think sending reminders out for stuff is great. Use your apps, work them in your software systems, email reminders. Sometimes they'll get pushed down in the email inbox if you have a lot, but clients will respond typically 2 to 3 days into that. But some data shows that text messaging actually gets responses within about an hour. We need to monitor compliance, and we need to look at these tools because this is success, to get these people back in. AHA surveys show that clients did not mind getting as many as 5 reminders for services. And people are like astounded when they hear that. But a lot of practices will send like a single reminder out and go, okay, they didn't come, so we're done. But that's incredibly inefficient. We need to keep messaging people. So use the text message reminders. And if the clients follow up to make an appointment, then we don't have to do those reminder calls. That again takes some stuff off of our CSRs, leaving those voicemail messages that hardly anybody ever returns. Think about normal lab results. A lot of times the CSRs are the ones who are calling about those. Those can be automated through text and email, giving people some kind of tangible results and eliminating more calls from the CSRs. We can also reward clients for keeping their pets care with our hospital with a loyalty program. It's a great way also to encourage clients to download the app. Remember to pitch what's in it for them. text messages, reminders on the phone, access to your patient's records if they have to go to the ER, live chat for show and tell. Maybe we save you a trip. Free stuff, with the lawyer. Everybody loves free stuff. It's the number one attention-catching word in advertisement is free. Now, when it's time to check out, Tech Solutions again creates some efficiencies. Because of curbside protocols, our staff members have been forced to run to cars, present the invoice, collect the credit card, run back inside, swipe the card for payment, turn to the card, give the signature, deliver the receipt. The labor intensity of this slows down workflow, and we get more and more behind. And then if you manually punch in the card, it costs us more. So utilizing a text to pay, we're able to send a secure link to the client. They put in their own credit card information, and then they receive a paid receipt, all without us having to do that running round back and forth. We could even have clients pay in advance for services like new appointments or medication refills, because how many of those do you have sitting on the shelf getting restocked? The no-shows, during the pandemic, this just rose exponentially, all because people were calling everywhere they could get to an appointment and never canceling the ones that they had made when they finally got one for maybe the next day. People are getting people to pay in advance for those appointments for new clients. It has greatly reduced no-shows. 70% of practices consider contactless payment a competitive advantage. And others are saving more than 30 hours a month using text to pay. So even after reopening to the public, this could save time for the clients and the team. We could check out people in the exam room and they never go back to the front desk. Just remember that it's our relationships with our clients that are the pillars of success. When you're thinking, wow, we need to look long-term. My first practice had a large boarding facility. We could house 100 animals. However, at the holidays, we were always booked weeks out. Rather than turn clients away, we offered to put them on a waiting list. And then we shared contact information for 2 excellent kennels that we felt confident would house their pets safely. And I often have practice owners who are astonished that I would have done this. The thought of sending your clients to the competition seems nuts. But if my practice is committed to caring for pets and their owners, that does not mean only when it is profitable to me. It means always. And my clients greatly appreciated the help. Most of the time they returned and they made earlier reservations. Plus, the kennels that we referred to became raving fans of our practice, and they referred many, many new patients to us. Always remember that good business is a long-term game. Don't think in the moment, think in the years. Now, our ultimate goal is to take care of our clients and their pets better than anyone else in our market by utilizing data gathering to align our business with what our customers want, training our team to be service focused, everybody from the DVM to what I call pet hospitality. Measure it, change it, tweak it, test it, measure it again, get it right. Because if you do, you can grow and prosper in any economy. Now, I want to leave you with these words. This is my favorite quote, and it's the epitome of great service. Let no one come to you without leaving better and happier. Okay. Now, we allowed a little bit of time here at the end of the presentation for some questions and answers. Thank you for your attention, for inviting me into your learning space. We still have, everybody stayed on, so thank you. I'm sorry it was a little late. Thanks, Stephen, for sharing your experiences. You guys have a great practice and you do a lot of good stuff in it. Thanks again to PetDesk and PennVet. And if you would like more information, I put a QR code here on the slide. You can just click that. We do have some questions. So if you guys will let's call those questions out loud. Let's see if Stephen and I can answer them.
Perfect. I think we can probably start from the top. So
Okay.
How would you recommend motivating someone to be more customer centric and refine their attitude of indifference?
Okay. I think one of the things that we should do is maybe have them experience good customer service. I remember having a client who would actually take his team member to the Ritz-Carlton and have dinner. and they got this fantastic service experience, because you don't know what you don't know. And once you've never experienced or have ever experienced a truly great service experience, then you know what it's like. So just, I would say, looking at places, I always think about the easiest one is Chick-fil-A. If you guys have Chick-fil-A in your area, it's my pleasure, it's great service. But looking at how other people serve and how that makes you feel, I think is a very important part of that. Again, listening to, as Stephen will vouch for, having recorded phone conversations, and then sometimes having that person listen to their own conversation and critique themselves. Because it's sort of like, what is the quote about pornography? I can't define it, but I know it when I see it, right? So you can hear a good service experience, and you also know the flaws in your own conversations when you hear them back. I've done this for many years, and some of my staff went, "Oh my God, I can't believe I said that." So they catch themselves.
Awesome. And then Rachel asked if you could share the link for the website that the checklist is available on.
Oh, absolutely. So if you will look here on the last slide, you'll see dboone2managevets.com. That's my website. And that has some helpful links, and there are, it lives on that website.
Perfect. And then what apps are you seeing success with for contactless payments? Any issues with battling with these? Or batching?
Well, I'm just going to give the shameless plug. The PetDesk Pay, we've been using it. We beta tested it for PetDesk, and so we love it because they built it the way we wanted it done. I can't recommend it enough. It has been a game changer for us, especially in regards to deposits. There were a lot of people talking about deposits for new clients to cut down on no-shows. And we do that. We just tell it when they call, and we say, I'm going to send you 2 emails. One of them will describe our curbside check-in procedure, and it will have a link to our history form that you got to fill out before the visit to increase our efficiency, even though some people want to just tell our doctor. But the second email we're going to send is an invoice for the deposit to hold your spot. And that money will just be applied to your visit at the time of the visit. You won't lose, it's not anything extra. But that PetDesk Pay has been instrumental. It's been awesome. I can't recommend it enough. And it's not because I'm on a PetDesk webinar. It is because it's amazing. It's been fantastic. Sorry.
Well, I don't think I can top that. I'm spelling my own name wrong. Somebody asked me about the website and said it's blurry. So I'm typing it into the chat. So you can see my website information. And I think it's probably attached to the webinar too. But yeah, I'm pretty easy to find. If you Google Debbie Boone CVPM, you'll find me. And that the checklist is there. And so is the webinar, the letter template. And then there are some communication training webinar information on there too. Let's see.
There were several people who had asked about our CSR phase training that I had shared. Mm-hmm. And you are free, and anybody watching this, 300 people, that's fine, are free to email me. I will share that with you. My email is steven@familypethealth.com. I put it in the chat. I think I put it in the question and answers. Steven spelled with a PH. I do say I will send you the editable form that you can edit yourself. And all I would ask if you want to buy our team donuts, I'll be more than glad, because it is clear it's more than an hour's worth of work. But I'll send you the PDF, and you can use that as your jumping off point.
Let's see. There is a question that Danica asked about any resources for teaching my team how to become more empathetic with clients. I will tell you that on my website, there is a communication workshop that you can take. It's a digital workshop, and it talks about empathy. It talks about emotional intelligence. It talks about conflict resolution when people are being very difficult. And so there's resources on the website, and there's I write a blog every month, and they're all always about communication. So take a look at the blog post. I have one on there about judgment, It's called driving a car, that I think may be helpful for you, Danica, about showing empathy for others.
Somebody asked, Suzanne asked, do you recommend any books CSRs can read? I'm going to give a shameless plug. If there are any owners, practice managers, the Veterinary Leadership Book Club on Facebook, VLBC. My brother Michael is the organizer and has several other co-chairs. They go through several books. One of those was called Crucial Conversations. Just highly recommend it. Just, and again, can't recommend it enough for that. And again, a shameless plug to my brother. Again, Veterinary Leadership Book Club. And they just go through books that can apply to veterinary practices.
Yep, I too recommend it highly. I don't have time to participate like I would love to.
But you can go back and read old posts.
Old stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
You can, but just find the books mainly. And I can't agree with Stephen more. Crucial Conversations is what I consider to be the Bible of communication. And everybody needs to read it. And if everybody would read it and take it to heart, we would end war and we would live in heaven. And that's the absolute truth about that book. How's that for a plug? All right. I think we have answered all our questions. So if we want to wrap up, Ashley, I think we're good.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you, Debbie, for sharing your wisdom with us today. We appreciate it. And of course, we appreciate you. And Stephen, thank you so much. You are always so helpful. And as a reminder, if you're looking for help with your front desk staff, or you want to learn more about PetDesk Pay or text to pay or two-way text, whatever it may be, feel free to sign up and use this form, and this will go directly to me and I will get in touch with you. And by the way, you will be receiving your CE certificate after April 26th from Penn Vet Supply. So keep your eyes for that. And thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.